Oh, I got you muted. Hang on. There we go. Unmute. You're muted.
Now I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. Welcome to the inaugural show of Intentional Grounding here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. Our show is brought to you by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day, which today is game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza. Ship local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. And today I am joined by my lovely Toasted Triscuit host, Joe Buttery Boyce Miller, my guy.
It went so good last night, we had to run it back. Basically, that's what happened. We had to run it back.
We have to run it back, man. Listen, if you guys can, give Joe a little love, because the internet at my house went down. And before you guys say, "Oh, is the bill paid?" Yes, it's paid. The damn bill is paid, but it went out, right? So first of all, Joe, let me throw some scope on this, okay? So I'm doing a Q&A for Bleacher Report. So fans are texting, and we're talking about the game and the matchups and whatever. They get my take on that, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, the internet goes out, and I'm like, wait a second. So then I have to restart my computer. Well, it's 2:10. I'm like, I gotta go, because I can't wait for the internet to come back on. If it's not going to come back on, I gotta get downtown. So right now, this show is brought to you live at Jackson's Bar, the Bills Backers Bar in Denver, Colorado, downtown Denver. We're here at Jackson. So
nice,
Joe. Thank you for covering me. My lighting is not great tonight, but again, I'm live down here. There's going to be about 500 Bills fans or so here tonight at Jackson's.
Nice. I got new hotness. I just bought this hat today.
Ooh, a little trucker hat, little Bills trucker hat.
And it's like worn. It's got like some distressing on it. Yeah, dude, it's sweet.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah. So continuing our conversation last night, I did not get any sleep. None.
Dude, None. I was awake at 3:30 a.m. My eyes went pink, and I was like, why am I awake? Oh, I know why I'm awake.
Wait, you had to ask yourself why you were awake?
Dude, yes, I'm in a point in my life where if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's usually because something's going on upstairs, right? So there's some stress, there's something going on. So yeah, and then it hit me about 3 seconds after I asked that question. It's like, oh, I'm anxious. I got butterflies rolling right now, right? Yeah,
I mean, the sleepless night. I mean, it was. I knew it. We talked about it yesterday. I knew that coming into today that I wasn't gonna get any sleep. And I'm on Twitter middle of the night, and you see everybody else awake. And so it's not just me or you. It's everybody in Bills Mafia pretty much. And if I would question your fandom, if you actually got sleep or you have really heavy drugs.
Right. So there's a whole bunch of cool people in the room. We got Richard Rush is in the room.
Yeah.
EB is in the room.
Little shout outs, man.
Buffalo Snowy. Clay is in the room.
That is. Clay Snowden. Two goats. Okay. The love is coming in.
Richard Rush says he's so ready. DH asks us if we're ready. Clearly we're ready. The Pullout King.
Yes. And we got a hey, we have a special guest that's coming to hang out with us today. Another Buffalo Rumbling guy. We got my man Big Newt in the house. Big Newt.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
What's up, homie?
Sorry I'm late, man. I'm about to go. My son got football practice, so I told him I had to do this real quick before we get to practice. So I got my whistle on, got my Bills shirt representing. I'm ready to go for tonight, bro.
Let's go.
Big Newt, what position are you coaching, man?
O-line, D-line, man. O-line, D-line.
Ooh, okay. So that's gonna segue. We're gonna talk about the O-line and D-line matchup today before you get out of here. But man, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the show, what's the temperature in the room, man? Like, how excited are you, Newt, right now? Is it Christmas Day? Because it's Christmas for me. What are your initial feelings coming in this game?
Man, I'm not only excited to see Buffalo Bills on major network, prime time, we kicking off the season. I'm just happy just to see football, man. I mean, I like baseball, that's all fine, but when it start getting cooler, the pumpkin spice lattes and stuff in Starbucks, all that stuff, I need football, man. So I'm excited. It's like Christmas Day here in the Newton household.
Oh yeah, what about you, Joe?
Oh, dude, it's been a roller coaster of emotions today, just as far as what I think is going to happen versus, and then like changing my mind to and thinking about takes for not only this show, but I'm going to jump on with Colt, the Buffalo Nerd, after this one, and then I got my show, and so I'm like working through all that, the process of like what we should expect. Like the last thing I thought getting in preparation for this show was we're either going to see. I don't even want to go there. Yes, I have a lot going on upstairs and a lot going on in the general area as well. So it's nerves, babe.
Wait, why is it here? You about to have a heart attack?
Dude, yeah, like I got more, dude. Right? So I've been a musician for 25 years. I've been on stage in front of thousands of people. I get on stage and I don't get nervous. My wife thinks I'm prideful. She's like, "You've got pride issues," and I'm like, "No, I've just done this a lot." Bills game, season opener, Thursday night football, prime time against the Super Bowl champions. I got nerves. I'm nervous.
Oh yeah, dude. Me too. Because I think a lot of the emotion comes back to mind where the Bills on prime time. Like we've had some clunkers of a game. I mean, last year Monday night in Tennessee, we had the playoff loss to the Chiefs. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys game with Tony Romo, we lost that Monday night football prime time. I mean, there's so many letdown games, and so I'm gonna be honest. So I'm coming into this one, even though I'm scared shitless. I think we're gonna win this game, man. I think we're gonna win this game.
I think so too.
I think so too. They're gonna have a lot of popping circumstance. They're dropping the banners. They're giving the rings, all that stuff out. I think that's gonna be a distraction for them. I think Josh Allen gonna come in. He gonna pick up what he left off in Kansas City and have a good game. And we're gonna go ahead and start this MVP candidacy right here, man. Let's start it right now tonight.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Let's go. So all right. So Big Newt just established that Josh Allen's winning the MVP. Are the Bills going to the Super Bowl and winning it?
Is that for me or Joe?
That's for you. That's for you, okay. Joe.
The only thing that's scary that everybody been talking about this week is this century, the last 22 years. Okay, the Super Bowl preseason favorite has only went on and won it 3 times. Okay, and 2 of those times was the New England Patriots. The other time was the Colts back in 06-07 with Peyton Manning. So that kind of makes me weary. I'm like, I don't want to be the favorites. I don't want Vegas betting on us and all that stuff. I don't want that, but so be it. If that's where it's got to be this year, then that's fine. But like I talk about on our show, the Jamie D. Big News show, is the way I look at football, as long as we have Josh Allen, the next, knock on wood, the next 10 years, we're going to be contenders. So in my mind, I'm thinking, man, as long as we win one of these while Josh Allen at quarterback, I'm cool. But I feel like that started 2 years ago. All right. So we didn't get it done in the AFC Championship. We didn't get it done last year in Kansas City. Okay, let's keep on building the roster and let's get over this hump. The sooner the better, because I ain't getting no younger. So, and we don't want to take that for granted, man. Life is quick, man. Rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth. She just passed away today. So shout out to her and her 70-year rule. But I probably ain't gonna live 70 years, bro. So let's get it done now.
Right.
Oh, I feel you there, Joe. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I'm already old. And I don't want to be like Queen Elizabeth. I want the Bills to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, right? So let's just get it out of the way. I was on the phone with Jay Spence the King today, and we were just talking about how jealous I am that he is in LA right now, and everybody that's in LA and all the stuff that's going on, and the party last night. And it just culminated for me. And I just feel like this whole entire season, starting with this game tonight, is a journey for the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia to get to the Super Bowl and win it. I feel like the 2 years prior to this, we were having conversations. Is this team good enough to be a Super Bowl contender? Then last year it was like they should be a Super Bowl contender. Like nobody's going to really call it, even though I think some people did. This year, like legit, this whole thing, we're all on a train, and the train is headed right to Arizona. That's where the train is headed. In February 15th or whatever it is, the 14th. So I'm feeling it. I'm all in my feels, bro. I'm all in my feels.
I feel like this is what I feel like. And I love y'all's answers, but I got to go back to the Kansas City game, because that's like the last time we saw these Bills in action, and the raw emotion that we all felt Like, we couldn't talk after the game. I mean, Joe, you were there, but Big New, I could probably speak for you too, man. You're sitting there. Part of you is like, damn, this is what it's like to be a Bills fan. And part of you is like, okay, like, we just shit the bed. Like, it's tough, right? It's tough.
Once again, man, it was a great game. I mean, I know we came up on a short end of stick, and I talk about me being a Notre Dame fan. I was at the push game. And it's like push game is going to be one of the best college football games this decade or this century. And it's like you come up on the short end of the stick, and then it's kind of like you're right. It's kind of like, dang, when is going to be our turn? We keep coming up short. When is going to be our turn? And that's what I'm saying. You got to look at the totality of Josh Allen. As long as we got a guy that's a top 5 passer, we're always going to be in contention. You got to realize John Elway won his at the end of his career, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how I kind of look at it. As long as we got Josh Allen, we're going to have a chance. And last year was a masterful game. We just came up 13 seconds short the coin flip. So I feel like we're going to be in contention because, hey, don't make no mistake. All of us have put our houses on the fact that we would have played Kansas City the following week, we would have dogged them. We would have beat them by 30. You know what I'm saying? So how when you play somebody is just as important too. So
absolutely.
We'll get lucky.
And so coming into tonight, you guys kind of alluded to it earlier. That these Bills are coming in and they're going to be hanging the banners. Sean McVay and Les Snead just got a contract extension. And Josh Allen, and we know Josh Allen is the ultimate competitor. Stephon Diggs is the ultimate competitor. I mean, we got some dogs on this roster. They are going to come in, and I think they're going to handle business. And I think it's going to be, last night we talked 31-24. I think that still could be the score, but I don't think the score is going to be as close as we think it is. As far as like they may catch up at the end, but I think this Bills teams are going to come in. They're going to be ready. And you know what? This is the one thing I want to say before I let you go, Joe, is that they're going to have a renewed mindset because of guys like Von Miller, because of guys like Tim Settle. And they're going to start out fast because usually Brian Dable's offenses, they kind of start out slow during the year. So I expect them to jump out early.
So I said I wasn't going to talk about my last thoughts about the game, but I am going to bring it up because what you just said is perfect. The emotion that's in this game, this isn't just a normal every other day game on a Sunday at 1:00 for either team. The banner raising, right? So what you talked about the extensions for the head coach, the extension for the GM, everything that the Rams went through last year, winning the Super Bowl, there's going to be some high emotions. They probably feel slighted by the fact that they're not the Super Bowl favorites. And oh, by the way, the guys across the field are the people that are being picked to like win the Super Bowl this year, not them, the guys that just won it. So they're going to be like in this wave of emotion. What you said about Josh Allen is dead right. Josh Allen, we've all seen the gifs and the pictures of him in like emotional situations when it's been bad, and you just see the fire burning in his eyes. Like he is not happy. After we lost in the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, they asked him, how long is it going to take you? But are you one of those guys that like next week you won't be thinking about this anymore? And he's like, he goes, I'm going to wear this until we play another game. Like it's going to stick with me. So the emotions for the Bills on the other side of like seeing that banner race, feeling like it's been stolen from them 2 years in a row, feeling like they've been slighted that way. So the last feeling I had about this football game, and I've gone through a lot of feelings from close game to blowouts to whatever, is tonight. I feel like the Bills are either going to be the bully because of the emotions. They're going to be a bully tonight, or they're going to get bullied because and that's an emotional thing between both teams. I don't think I will be surprised if this is a close football game. Very surprised.
Yeah. I think, the first person that comes to mind outside Josh Allen is Gabriel Davis. Like, I want to know, are they going to double Gabriel Davis? Because if you double Gabe, then you're going to single up Diggs. And if you double Diggs, right, you're going to single up Davis. Now, we know Jalen Ramsey is the top cornerback in the league. You can even argue he's top 2 or top 3. It depends on which day you're talking about. But Gabe Davis coming into this, it's not a make or break year, but this is the year where he can ascend to stardom. He's already a household name, I would say, but Gabe Davis, in terms of a route running perspective and separation, we already knew he had great hands, but there's so much talk about the Bills lack a deep threat or a speed threat, but Gabe Davis at UCF was almost used exclusively to catch the ball down the field. So it's not about necessarily how much speed you have, but it's about how you set up those routes and how you utilize leverage down the field to make yourself open and available for these deep passes. So my question to you guys is, what are your expectations for the offense, but what are your expectations for Gabe Davis in this game?
So I'll go first. The word that you want to use in this situation, and I had a good conversation with Bruce about it, I think last year at the beginning of the season, is verticality. Verticality isn't necessarily a speed trait. Guys can get deep and can go long. Gabe Davis in that Chiefs game caught the one deep, like super deep pass in the game from Josh Allen. What do I expect from this offense tonight? I believe I think we can take a look at what happened 2 years ago when the Rams came to Buffalo. I think there's some similarities. There's enough similarities between these two teams that the Bills can potentially do the exact same thing in that first half that they did in the first half, or tonight that they did in the first half 2 years ago. The difference is this time is that defense is markedly better, which puts the Rams in a position of having to chase. And if any team ever has to chase, they're down. Like, that's a problem for a football team. So for me, I think the Bills start fast, like you said, and have the potential to just pour it on. Newt, what do you think?
Well, the question, that's a great question, and I don't want to pivot off of it, but to me, more important than Gabe Davis, because I think he's going to do his thing. You mentioned Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Diggs might cancel each other out.
Right.
So then we got Gabe Davis on the outside. He could get free. But I think more importantly, the question we should be asking is, how much important is Isaiah Mckenzie going to be? Okay, work in the middle of the field, getting yards after the catch. I feel like he's going to be a step up this year than Cole Beasley, and that's saying a lot because I thought a lot of Cole Beasley. Okay, so all pro 2 years ago. So I want to see if he could be able to be that difference maker. All right, so more so than Gabe Davis tonight, I'm going to be focusing on that slot receiver, Isaiah Mckenzie. And then if you want to talk about the whole offense, I'm looking forward to seeing the running game tonight more than anything.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting between the running game. I mean, they're going to roll guys at him. Isaiah McKenzie, right? Jamison Crowder, Khalil Shakir's out there. Expect to see James Cook on the boundary at some point in this football game. Whether they throw it to him or not, they're going to put him out there, right? Just to get somebody to pay attention to him. So it's going to be interesting. Sturls, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to talk about Isaiah McKenzie, Justin Hollins is going to be guarding Isaiah McKenzie. And I think, one of the things that we have to point out here is that the maturation process that Isaiah McKenzie has taken as a receiver. I mean, you mentioned that having Cole Beasley in the fold, learning from guys like Cole Beasley, learning from guys like Stephon Diggs, how to run routes properly. Yeah, I feel like McKenzie has access to the full route tree now, because I don't think he had that or could effectively do those things when he first got here from Denver. But being here for a few years, I think he's developed into a pretty solid slot wide receiver. And so, when you look at the matchup tonight, I think, we talked about this last night, Joe. I think, this Rams team, they're weak at linebacker, and they're slow in terms of, inside corner. They don't have the best athletes in terms of the middle, protecting the middle of the field. And I think that's where Isaiah McKenzie can shine.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yep.
So now that we're talking wide receivers, you mentioned running back. So my next question is, it kind of is a perfect segue. How much will Shakir and Cook be utilized? And I don't think we're talking about this as much as we should, because Khalil Shakir played better than Cook. I'm a big James Cook guy. He had more exposure and everything. But I think that maybe Shakir might have more snap count than James Cook tonight. Hot take, if you will, but I just think what he was able to do in this preseason, the guy is a very mature route runner for a rookie.
Yeah.
Which is hard to find.
I think the concern is going to be the Bills have had a tendency to protect whoever's returning punts and returning kicks for them. And I know that this year might be different even for Isaiah McKenzie, who is slotted as the number one kick returner, but obviously we're expecting him to start right in the slot. I would venture to guess and probably be a little more settled thinking that they're going to protect Khalil Shakir and probably not put him in the lineup as much because he's going to be returning punts, but you might be right. You very well might be right.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Are you counting the return game too, or you just counting simply offense?
I'm just talking simply offense, because we know Shakir is going to get the lion's share of the punt returns. But I think it wouldn't be crazy to assume that maybe he gets, maybe 10 snaps from the slot. I mean, just to see. I mean, I think you're in a position right now. You got to see. I think the world of Isaiah McKenzie, but man, what Shakir was able to show, and keep in mind, we don't know how long Isaiah McKenzie is going to be around. So you got another, even if he is around, having a guy like Shakir might stop you from having to draft a wide receiver early next year. So it's something to consider.
I feel like Shakir is Gabe Davis insurance, right?
Yep.
I mean, for me, and I said this, I don't remember on which show I was on or who I was talking to, but I felt like a lot of the routes we saw Shakir run in the second preseason game and the third one were Gabe Davis routes. There were routes that we kind of saw Gabe run a lot, and it was almost like, can this guy do those things as well? And obviously you've got other guys in there that can catch when you think of an Isaiah Hodgins and people like that are behind him. But to your point, I think Shakir might be Gabe Davis insurance, so that like we've got a guy and we don't have to pay Gabe if he does become, to your point, a superstar. We don't have to pay another $96 million wide receiver.
True.
All right. True that. Go ahead, Newt.
No, I was just gonna say I like what you just said. Cook, when the depth chart came out this week and Cook was number 3 behind Zach Moss, man, that was a shock. So it's kind of like, now how is he gonna be an integral? How can he possibly be an integral part of the offense as the number 3 running back? You know what I'm saying? I feel like Singletary gonna have to get his touches. Singletary gonna get what, 10? Let's say 10, 12 touches.
That's fair.
And then you got Moss. Moss gonna have to give 5, 6, 7 touches. So where does that leave our third running back? And you're right. If you see Shakir getting 10 plays of offense, I don't know if Cook is gonna get that. I feel like he'll get on the field, but I don't know if he's gonna get 10 in like that.
Right. And now we could segue to my guy James Cook. I have a piece about James Cook, and I think he's going to be a star for this Buffalo Bills team starting this year. But we got to think about what they drafted him to do, right? And so, just like you was, I was taken back by, man, it's like my guy is like number 3 on the depth chart, and I think he's better than James Cook. I mean, than Zach Moss. But I'm thinking, how they're going to use him as maybe a scat back. I guess they probably want to see how well he runs between the tackles. That's probably the only question. I think he can do it, but he's not as polished as Devin Singletary as far as running through the tackles. And then you got a guy like Zach Moss who's a banger, right? Or supposed to be a banger, or was, that's what we drafted him to be. So when I look at James Cook, market share of carries this game, I come away with like maybe 6 carries, and he'll probably get 4 receptions. That's what I envision him to do tonight. So like you said, Devin Singletary will probably get 10 carries, right? 10, 12 carries. And then I think Zach Moss will get, 2 and 3 or 4 short yard situations. Then Josh Allen's going to have, I think he's going to have 5 or 6 carries. So that's, you total that up, that's a little over 20 carries. And that's a full workload for the running back room or running back reps out of the backfield. So do you guys think that James Cook, with that limited market share of carries and targets tonight, how much of an impact do you think he can have in this game?
I think he can have an incredible impact if that's the way that it goes. It just depends on situationally when they use him and how, right? So we saw a lot last year, and obviously Dable is gone. We never will get the story as to why, but we saw a lot last year where in second and longs, the Bills were number 1 in the league running the football. So 2nd and 12, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, the Bills are dropping back and handing the ball off to Zach Moss or Devin Singletary or somebody who's, going 2 yards and getting knocked over. If they situationally use him incorrectly, he's not going to be much of a factor at all. If they find a time to use him and catch him off guard, catch the defense off guard, you and I talked about it. You give Devin Singletary the ball a bunch of times where he's not a huge burst guy. He can make a guy miss. The defense adjusts to Singletary, and then you give the ball to Cook when you've got kind of some momentum. We just lost Sturls. You got some kind of momentum, and then it allows Cook to basically jump past or streak around the end or get past some people. You can catch the defense kind of off balance that way. There's also the question of are they going to use Cook in a way to I guess not as a decoy or as a disguise. So like put him out there and set him on the boundary or set him in the slot and make the defense alert to him. And then are they going to give him the ball? That's the question. Can he get open? Will he get open? And if he does, if he's open, Allen's going to find him. Right. I think what we're talking about though is we want to see him run the ball. I don't know that we want to see him only catch passes in this football game. Right.
I, going off the preseason, I get it. You don't want to show everything in the preseason. I just felt like there's nothing for the preseason besides his draft status that would make me think that he's going to get 10 touches tonight. But I could be wrong. You don't want to show your hand during the preseason. I feel like, once again, Boss being healthy, we all know that last year he was a little gimpy. He looked very sprightly out there, man. He looked good out there. So I think Singletary and Moss is going to get the lion's share of the carries, and I think that we're going to ease Cook in, and I think his role will grow as the year goes on. But maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight.
What Newt is saying is what the Bills have traditionally done. They've protected rookies. So what he's saying is expect a running game from the Bills that was more like the back 6 games of 2020, like that 49ers game,
right?
Games when they were rolling Singletary and Moss, and they were effective in like doing that, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add on to that, and our offensive line is going to be better. And I know I'm kind of jumping around. I apologize, but
I love it. I
want to get all my points in before I got to get on this football field. But to me, not just looking at how we divvy up the runs, I'm gonna be looking to see how our zone plays, our zone run scheme is gonna improve this year with Saffold, Spencer Brown in his sophomore year. I want to see we bring Quisenberry in, he gets some playing time. I want to see how that zone blocking scheme, how Singletary. I think that's what's going to help us improve our running game.
Well, this is it right here. So let's just take a moment to say that Roger Saffold, Mitch Morse, and Ryan Bates is not Brian Winters, Mitch Morse, and John Feliciano, right?
Yeah, facts. That's facts.
Yeah,
and that's a great point. And it kind of I'll say this about James Cook, and then we'll go to the offensive line. But we got a new offensive coordinator, right? And I think that I think the NFL, we all know this. It's about matchups. And if you got a James Cook out there, ain't no linebacker on that team going to be able to guard him. It ain't happening. And I don't even think their slot corner can guard James Cook, to be quite honest with you. So if I'm the Bills, I spread it out. And I put it to where you got to negate Aaron Donald somehow. So why not be in shotgun 3, 4, 5 wide, right? You got to utilize the screen game. You got to get these guys open quick, because Aaron Donald is coming, and we don't know how well Spencer Brown is going to be able to hold up against Leonard Floyd. And then we're kind of segueing to the offensive line right now. How much has Spencer Brown improved? He was injured, coming off a surgery this offseason. So he really hasn't had that much run as the starting right tackle. And matter of fact, he didn't get any quality time as a starter at right tackle, right? So we have to kind of take that into consideration. Okay, now we know, what do we know about Spencer Brown? Well, we know that he struggled with guys with elite power, and he struggled with guys that were bendy and quick. Right. Now we know Spencer Brown is an elite athlete. That's been established. So one of the things I'm looking at tonight is how much has he improved? How much has he improved? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, like you said, we weren't able to see him during the preseason because he'd been hurt, but it was telling that he was number 1 on the depth chart. Well, when we signed Quisenberry, I just knew he was going to come in and start. And so he played throughout the preseason, and then as soon as the depth chart come out, Spencer Brown is still in there. So Spencer Brown is a first-round draft pick. He isn't somebody who could get hurt, and then as soon as he's healthy, you put him back in. So they must know. I just chalked it up as them knowing something that we don't know and that we didn't see during the preseason. So I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight, and maybe even improve.
I was wildly surprised when the first depth chart came out and David Quisenberry was the starting right tackle. Wildly, because when you looked at it, nobody else had lost their starting position due to injury. So Tre'Davious White was still slotted as the number 1 corner. Meanwhile, Quisenberry is the number 1 right tackle. Then the second depth chart comes out. David Quisenberry still the first string right tackle. Set the last preseason game. The threes are in there, and Spencer Brown is in there with the threes, and Matt Barkley. And I'm like, this just doesn't look good for Spencer, but it clearly means that the Bills, I thought, felt they had a better option. Then the season, the depth chart that matters comes out, and Spencer Brown is the number 1 right tackle. This is what I would say. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he's improved. All I care about is if it doesn't go well, David Quisenberry's on this football team, and they're going to run that guy out there.
So here's I'm gonna put you at ease right now.
All right.
I think Spencer Brown's going to have a really good season, right?
I hope so.
Let me tell you why I'm so impressed with the leadership of Sean McDermott, and I'm impressed with the leadership of not Bobby Johnson, but Aaron Cromer, because I think in years past they meddled with the offensive line so much. Like we know Deion Dawkins, Mitch Morse, they were the stalwarts, but everybody else was so flexible, interchangeable, and the fact that even though they knew Spencer Brown was injured, they stuck him at right tackle as a starter goes to show you how much faith that they believe in having that continuity in that starting five.
Right.
You know, so you got Ryan Bates is a solid right guard. He proved that last year.
Yep.
So I think some of the pressure is going to be alleviated off of Spencer Brown, the right tackle, coming into a second year. And I think it's going to pay dividends to have a guy like Roger Saffold, Deion Dawkins to kind of give him some pointers. I think it's going to be great because we saw the Bills has jettisoned Cody Ford and they ruined him. And I don't know if that was the coaching staff, right, and being a McDermott, or if that was, Bobby Johnson, because they drafted my guy to be right tackle, and then they threw him at guard.
I think Cody had something to do with that too.
He did. But come on, man, like I don't care. Look, I get we all have personal issues, and being in the NFL is new to a lot of these players, and the pressure with that comes with that. But can you put him in one position, man?
Well, right. So stop. Pause. Because what you just said is exactly right. A second ago, you said Ryan Bates proved himself as a right tackle. Or right guard.
No, right guard.
No, he didn't. He proved himself as a left guard. Now, hang on a second. So I do the off tackle show with John Fina, and we've talked at length to include with Reuben Brown about flip-flopping sides. Literally, so like going back and forth. Reuben Brown said when he was a left guard his whole 5, 6, 7 years that he was in Buffalo. Yeah. And he said, when I left for Chicago, I wanted to shed everything Buffalo. I wanted to be a new player. I didn't want to be remembered as a Buffalo Bill. I left the organization. So I went to Chicago and I was going to be a right guard. That's what I was going to be. He's like, we got into preseason and all the camps and all that stuff. And finally the coach was like, you're not good at this. You should go back to left guard. So he did, and Reuben Brown's going to go to the Hall of Fame. So even Reuben Brown, a Hall of Famer, would tell you that they're different positions. Right?
Yeah, they are.
So there might be a little question mark on Ryan Bates at right guard for me. We'll see. I mean,
okay. So then the question is, do you trust our offensive line coach Aaron Cromer in his judgment or not? Because if he says, you know what, Ryan Bates, I think you're going to be a right tackle, then sure as hell, I'm gonna go with him all the way and say, dude, you're right guard. You're starting at right guard.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be, and Quisenberry, like you guys mentioned, Quisenberry can play guard as well, and he has a history of Aaron Cromer.
Yeah, and Aaron Cromer is he's not a genius, but he's got some madman kind of ideas. So I know not firsthand, but pretty close to firsthand that he's even having conversations about when he's healthy, putting Tommy Doyle at guard. And the question comes up, isn't he too big to play guard? And,
right.
And Cromer's like, is he?
Right.
Why is he too big to play guard? It's like,
hey,
oh, okay.
Real quick, man. We got another Buffalo Rumblings contributor, my guy Steve in the house, baby. What's up, bro?
What's up, Sturls? What's up, Big Newt? What's going on, Joe?
What's going on, y'all?
Now, the last time we saw you, you were in an undisclosed location. Are you still in an undisclosed location right now?
Dude, I'm on vacay. I'm living it up. I'm in Florida. I'm going to Disney. I'm gonna have one too many tonight. I just pounded like 20 wings right now.
Oh, so you're sleepy?
No, this is me getting the party going, man. Joe knows me best. I get sleepy after I have my Cuban. That's when I'm ready to go.
Hey, man. Well, thank you for your service, man. We appreciate you. So give us you're only here for a few minutes. What's your score prediction, man? Let us know what's up.
You know, I know it sounds a little conservative, but I will say I got the Bills going 24-14. I think this game is going to be held down by one turnover and a field goal. I think it's that 10-point differential. I don't see this game throwing a ton of fireworks. I think it's going to be a chess game. I think Sean McVay learned a ton from his first matchup against this Bills roster, who, credit to you, Joe, you really do look at this roster from last time they played. It does not look very different. The position groups may have upgraded here and there, but if you look at everything by and large, it looks pretty even. I think the best quarterback wins. And at the end of the day, Josh Allen is going to play with fire in his belly.
Talk about it.
Okay. Let's get it, baby.
Let's go.
All right. So, okay, Newt, how much time you got left, man?
Hey, I got about maybe 5 more minutes.
Okay, so let's do this before you guys go. Give me your X factor for tonight's game. We'll start with you, Steve. Then we'll go to Big Newt, and then Joe will let you take it. X factor.
X factor for me is going to be Devin Singletary. You talk about being able to throw off the trenches. A guy that probably has the biggest chip on his shoulder in this game is Devin. Everyone's counted him out since the day he joined this roster that he is not going to be the guy. If he can get going and disrupt what this defensive line is trying to do to get to Josh Allen, whether it be in the RPO game or whether it be in just the read option specifically, it ruins the whole game plan because the entire offense will open up.
Love it. Go ahead, Newt.
I was going to say the same thing, the running game, but I'll go over to the next thing. I want to see how we defend Cooper Kupp. I want to see how the young guys going to fare in their first live action. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'm going to keep my eye on our pass defense. We got 2 of the best safeties in the league. I don't worry about the back end at all. But underneath zone coverages, maybe 10, 15 yards out, how the young guys going to be able to hold up against a stellar wide receiver core like the Rams.
I've got 2 X factors, one on offense, one on defense. I'm not going to talk about the one on defense at all. I think an X factor could be Ed Oliver on defense. The X factor for me on offense, believe it or not, is Steph Diggs. And I don't mean a situation where they're forcing the ball at Stephon Diggs and they throw 20 targets at him and he only catches 7. I'm talking about if Steph gets loose and actually puts it to Jalen Ramsey, this game is over. It's over. If Steph can just own him, it's over.
All right, so before we introduce our next guest, I want to say thank you to Big Newt. I want to say thank you for your service and all your work here at Buffalo Rumblings, Steve. And just so you guys know, you're listening to the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, and we keep it real. We keep it locked and loaded all season long. Newt, why don't you tell everybody how they can find your work?
I'm on Twitter. I'm a co-host of the Jamie D. Big Newt Show. We're on everything when you listen to podcasts, and you can reach me on Twitter at @big_Newt. @big_Newt. And before I go, my sign off. Hey, let's go Buffalo!
Hey, we appreciate you, Big Newt, baby. You
take care, y'all.
Go get it, man.
Go Bills.
Steve, any last thoughts before you go out of here, man?
Absolutely. Real quick, you can find me on Twitter @BuffHub, and I say it every single episode to all the first responders and all the military out there. Thank you for what you do for our country and our communities. You guys stay strong out there. Have a great time tonight. Be safe. Go Bills.
Thank you, man. We love you, bro. Be safe on your vacay, man.
Got it.
All right, now we got a very, 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 very special guest in here tonight, and we didn't think he was going to make it. But my guy, straight from heaven, the Bruce Nolan. Bruce freaking Nolan, how are you doing, my man?
Guys, I'm rocking and rolling. Just disco balls, dancers, the whole thing. I had initially said there was 0% chance I'm going to make it at 5 o'clock. I did not give you a percentage chance that I would make it at 5:40. Right. I got home and I was like, I wonder if they're still going. Let's just kind of pop in, just see what's happening here. And sure enough, all my dudes are just partying without me, which is completely reasonable, quite frankly. But I'm just happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're getting all the love in the chat as usual, Bruce, man. First of all, we appreciate everything you do for the network and just your friendship alone, man. And, football is for family, and you guys are definitely my family. Joe, me and you're going to kick it a lot next week. You guys are my dudes. But, man, what a platform do we have here that we can get on here and talk about these Bills. I'm here in Denver, Colorado at Jackson's. People are rolling in right now, and it's going to be live. So, Bruce, tell me, what are you most excited about for this game?
I'm most excited about the exact same thing that PJ said that he wanted to hear my thoughts on. So this just works out well. PJ is already inside my head, so that works out well. I want to see, knowing full well that the Bills are not idiots. They know that Dane Jackson and whichever rookie it is that rolls out against Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson is a massive plus in the favor of the Los Angeles Rams. Knowing this, it seems likely you're going to see a lot of zone coverage, but that's not my question. It's not who's going to be on who. It's, are you going to roll a safety over top of a backside isolated X receiver? Because that's what you're going to get from Allen Robinson. You are going to get isolated on the backside. Cooper Kupp's going to be on the front side of a bunch formation a lot because that's what Sean McVay does. My question is, do you trust whoever that is, whether it's Dane Jackson, Christian Benford, Kaiir Elam, do you trust them enough to not roll a safety over the top of them when you're doing zone coverage? Because if you do, you have a 2-on-1, which is great, but now you have a numbers disadvantage on the front side, which is what everyone's trying to avoid when you're playing against Cooper Kupp. It's the reason why Allen Robinson matters so much. He matters so much because he can make that go. It's what they were constantly searching for, because Robert Woods was not that kind of player. But you know who was that kind of player? Odell Beckham. And then he goes down. So Allen Robinson just slides into that role that they evaluated Odell Beckham inside. So for me, it's pick your poison. Which poison are you going to pick? Are you going to be numbers deficient on the front side with Cooper Kupp? Or are you going to trust that Dane Jackson or Kaiir Elam or Christian Benford can handle Allen Robinson? You might think, well, maybe he doesn't get as much separation. He doesn't have to. Matthew Stafford has been known to throw his share of 50-50 balls, and Allen Robinson has been known to catch his share. I mean, look what Kenny Golladay did with Matthew Stafford in Detroit. It's not exactly like it's Matthew Stafford has to see it open before he throws it. If he sees backside 101, he's just going to like, you know what? Sure, why not? I'll take a shot. I believe in my dude. And if there's a dude you got to believe in, it's someone who wants to believe in himself. And it's Allen Robinson after being not happy in Chicago last year.
And I love that you bring that to the fold, because here's what I think is going to happen. Yeah, I think you take your chances with Allen Robinson. And I love the fact that the Bills play so much man coverage in preseason. I think we got to see some of that in the game tonight. And they drafted, Kaiir Elam and Christian Benford, who are pretty good at press man coverage. I think, that's something that can't be overstated, can't be overlooked. I want to take a chance on Allen Robinson, the route runner. How much separation is he going to get when someone's physical with him? He's going to have to earn every catch he gets tonight. I will take my chance on that. And then you're going to see Cooper Kupp running out of the backfield. You're going to see Cooper Kupp running behind the line of scrimmage, but right before the ball snapped. I mean, he's going to be in motion. They're going to get him going because, again, Taron Johnson is a hell of a defender for a slot corner, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of Taron Johnson, a lot of Cooper Kupp matched up. But they all got to be ready, because Dane Jackson and how they, with these bunch formations, you really don't know who's going where. And that's one of the beauties of Sean McVay's offense.
Yeah. My eyes, I don't feel like deceive me. And I feel like since, Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott got here, that sometimes we get disconnected as Bills fans about the fact that they're a bend but don't break philosophy defense. And I think we're going to see a lot of, like I told you last night, Sturls, keep it in front of you, make the tackle. Keep it in front of you, make the tackle. Hope they make a mistake. Hope they 4 and out themselves or 3 and out themselves, or they hold them to a field goal. Because if our offense can score a touchdown and they kick a field goal, it's a 4-point win. So I have a feeling, I don't know that there's going to be a ton of press man coverage in this game without Tre'Davious White on the field. I think there's going to be keeping it in front of you. That's who Dane Jackson is, as was Levi Wallace. Keep it in front of you, make a tackle. What's interesting about Levi, is Levi was a starting corner for us. He goes to Pittsburgh as a free agent, and he's a second string corner. He didn't even make the first string, which speaks volumes to what the Bills scheme does to cornerbacks and how it protects them. Go ahead.
So I think the scheme, and you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think they're adjusted the scheme just a bit. That's why you go out and you get a Kaiir Elam. That's why you go get a Christian Benford, because they want to be more physical. They want to be more physical outside.
Maybe. We'll see.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to turn into a, press man cover team. They're still going to be, they're still going to keep their tendencies as far as their zone coverage, but you have to be able to do both. And we weren't able to do that last year with outside of Tre'Davious White. We weren't able to do it. So I think I think there's going to be a little dynamic shift, and we're going to see more of it. At some point, you got to be able to trust these guys to make plays. You got to be able to trust these guys that their eyes are where they're supposed to be, that they're where they're supposed to be at all times. And so, look, man, if there's a game to do it, I know people don't want to hear this, but I mean, as much as I want to win this game, I want to see what you got. Show me Christian Benford. Show me Kyrie Allen what you have on a Allen Robinson, who we don't know how good he is at this point in his career. We just don't know that yet, right? He really hasn't done much in the past few years. Now, we talked last night, like, oh, well, you know, because he was with Chicago and who wants to play for Chicago? But at the same time, I mean, these are professional athletes, right? And they get paid too. So I'm going to take my chance, man. I'm going to take my chance. So this brings up my next point. And Bruce, I'm going to let you go first on this. Joe, I'm going to let you do it. And then we'll talk about what's going on.
I want to hear what Bruce, I think Bruce is unmuting to chime in on that topic. So I'd like to hear this.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good, man. We can totally move on. We got paces to hit, man. You got to hit these particular, you know, mile markers when it comes to this. I'm not going to be holding us down. I'm not going to be dragging us down. I'm just blessed to be here, man. I'm in your world. You guys move on without me.
Okay, so first of all, we got some listeners up in here. I mean, this is popping. So I mean, if you haven't already liked, followed, and subscribed to Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, and all of us here, you see our Twitter handles here. Make sure you do so because we're going to be doing this all season long. Every Bills game day, you will have me and probably some others from our Buffalo Rumblings team chopping up this game. So as we segue into the next point, Von Miller's in the fold. Okay. Did I say that correctly? Did y'all really hear me? Von freaking Miller is a Buffalo Bill, and he's suiting up tonight, not for the Rams, but for the Buffalo freaking Bills. Let's talk about it. Von Miller, the closer. Let's talk about the impact that he could have on the rest of the defensive line. What do you guys think about that? What are your initial thoughts? Bruce, we'll start with you, then Joe will go with you.
I think that the Rams offensive line is one of the strangest units in the NFL for me, because when you look at their success running the football and you look at their offensive success, you just assume the offensive line is going to be better than it actually is. I think that one of the things that gets consistently lost when discussing Les Snead in the ranks of NFL GMs is that his shtick, the trading away of the first round picks to get people, that only works if you hit on your late round picks, and he does.
Yeah.
And so we don't talk about that. We say, oh, well, I want to be Les Snead. And what you mean by that is we want to trade away all our stuff for players that we know, right? But that's only one half of what makes Les Snead work. The other half is being able to hit on third, fourth, fifth round picks and being able to have contributors. Because when you trade away your first round picks for stars, you need to build around them. So you don't need to hit stars in the fifth round. You just need to hit starters in the fifth round. And when you look across their offensive line, it's just filled with people you go, oh yeah, he's a pretty good player. Oh, well, that's a pretty good player too. But none of them you're looking at and going, yeah, okay, maybe Rob Haverstein, maybe. You're like, okay, who just signed a big extension at 30 years old. He becomes one of the highest paid right tackles in football, right? But that's basically it, right? That's essentially it. Yes, F them draft picks is what Les Snead says, but only F the high ones.
Right.
Win on the middle one. So I think the offensive line is one of those scenarios that I actually think the offensive line specifically is more of a testament to Les Snead's ability as a GM than the other things are. Because anyone can take a known quantity, bring it to your team, and go, oh, look, we have a known quantity. Oh, what? So you're telling me Jalen Ramsey was good, and then we traded for him, and he stayed good? What? No. That doesn't take anything. That just takes the willingness to put on the credit card. When I say, oh, I pulled out my credit card, you don't pat me on the back for dragging out my credit card. I don't get a W for that. You do get a W for the other things. You get a W for constructing the remainder of the roster basically out of third, fourth, fifth round picks and going, yeah, we can make it work. Okay, so Joe Notebloom, David Edwards, Brian Allen, Coleman Shelton.
There he is.
Rob Haverstein. That's the five right there. Does anybody look at that and go, oh, man, stars across the offensive line? No, but somehow it always works.
Yeah.
So I think that if there is a microcosm of Les Snead, it's not the first-round picks traded for Matthew Stafford and the first-round picks traded for Jalen Ramsey or any of that stuff. It's not even Aaron Donald. It's the offensive line.
Yeah, I love that.
So if I'm going to talk about the effect that Von Miller can have on this defense, it's going to come down, and you and I talked about it last night a little bit on the hotline, just that, Daquan Jones is going to suck up two blockers. He's going to, or he's going to get loose. And That's the problem with this whole entire defensive line that the Bills have. And it's going to be interesting to see how they address it, to Bruce's point, from an offensive line standpoint, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities. And the question is are our guys, when they get their opportunity, going to take advantage of it? When Rousseau has a one-on-one, when Von Miller gets a one-on-one, when Ed Oliver is one-on-one, are they going to capitalize? Jordan Phillips, all of them, like all the way down through the ranks, Tim Settle, because they're all, even the guys they brought in. Tim Settle is a guy that can get after the quarterback. Jordan Phillips is a guy that can get after the quarterback. Ed Oliver is a guy that can get after the quarterback, right? So the question is, they're going to bring 4 all night long. Certain guys at certain times are going to pick up double coverage as far as blocks. Can the guys that aren't, can they recognize that he's shading towards me, but he's going the other direction, and I can beat the guy in front of me and get to Matthew Stafford? So can they capitalize it? Because to be honest with you, and I know we're running short on time, there's been many times over the last 20 years where we as Bills fans have been like, we're going to own that matchup right there. And then it just vaporized into nothing. And the scrub beat our star, and we don't know why. So that's not what I want to see tonight. I want to see them take advantage of their opportunities.
Thank you for reminding me about Willie Parker. I appreciate that.
How about Bruce Smith and Tony Baselli? How about that one? I know Tony Baselli went to the Hall of Fame, but at the time, Tony Baselli was not a Hall of Famer. So, yeah.
So before we get out of here, I want to let everybody know. So we're going to get your game predictions because things may have changed since last night. Bruce, I don't know yours. So we're going to talk about that before we go. But I want to let everybody know that our guy, my guy, Jay Spencer King, is going to be doing an exclusive Buffalo Rumblings interview with Benny the freaking Butcher here in a few minutes. So those of you who are still here, you got to listen to this next interview because Jay Spence, you know, my guy, he always kills it when it comes to these interviews all the time. But he got Benny the Butcher. That's a big fish. So the fact that BSF family wants to hang out with Buffalo Rumblings, say what? Are you what? He wants to hang out with the Buffalo Rumblings group, man. We're gonna let him do that. So we're gonna get up out of here in about 5 minutes. So before we go, what are your game predictions? So Joe, will start with you because we talked about yours last night, and then Bruce will end with you. Joe, what do you got?
I'll go quick because we don't have 5 minutes. We've got about 3 or 4, but I'm sticking to what I said. 27-17 Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's going to throw for about 310, a couple of touchdowns in there. And yeah, I think Gabe Davis has a pretty big game.
All right, Bruce.
Give me 28-24 Buffalo.
Ooh. Okay. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for the first episode of Intentional Grounding during the season. We will be locked and loaded here all season right before the Bills game, man. So make sure that if you guys haven't done so already, you know, we got to do our sponsor before we get up out of here. You know, this show is presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza in this thing. Shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. And that's all we got, folks. And to sign off on here, we're going to say we hope that everybody goes to Wildest Dreams Land, coined by my guy down here, Joe freaking Miller. And guess what, guys? Go Bills. We're going to get a dub and we out of here.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Oh, I think I have to end the broadcast.